Don't be homeless. You know, it's an unfortunate reality, but I figured I should make this video and talk a little bit about what's happening right now. Because you have a lot of Gen Zers who are now actively practicing homelessness. Okay, they are falling into homelessness, they are falling into degenerate behavior. Of course, they're not all homeless. A lot of them are just making the absolute choice that they're going to live in a downright unsanitary way, if we can call it that. I saw a comment and someone basically said something really interesting. They pointed out what Gen Z really is, you know, because we're seeing what's happening, how this generation is falling apart. A lot of Gen Zers and the youngest of the millennials, absolutely bad stuff. A lot of them are turning to homelessness, to degeneracy, staying in their parents' basements if they can. They're not these are people who they see themselves as having no futures, so they're going to make all of us suffer for it. And they're literally out here like, well, everyone who's older than me is a boomer, and it's a term made to shame and dehumanize others. You know, it's used as a derogatory term, and it's crazy. So if you're older than a Gen Zer, you're automatically a boomer. You're a part of the group who stole their future, and now they're going to steal from you. I regularly get threats from Gen Zers that saying that they're going to poop where I live, that they're going to come for me, that they're going to do things. Be careful, don't mess with us. Like they're really getting aggressive. You know, telling me they want to curse me out. You know, and then they check it out. Like they're really getting disrespectful, very nasty, just because I'm calling them out for who they are and what they are, which are lazy people who don't want to work and want everything handed to them. It's the truth. It's not that I don't acknowledge that Gen Z does not have it easy. You know, I realize that there's a lot of hard. I know firsthand. I understand what the boomers did. You know, I'm not justifying anything that the boomers did. You know, I get it. They still, yes, the boomers sold out our futures. The boomers robbed every single one of us. Okay, they absolutely did. But at the same time, no one's going to give you anything in this world. This is a cold world. I used to be the idiot going around giving people money, telling people have hope. I don't do that crap anymore. I learned when I ended up homeless 10 or over 10 years ago. I learned just how dark the world is. And from there I never worked for another person ever again. I built myself back from nothing, multiple times, and no one helped me. That it's just a reality. If you look at this comment, I basically said that, the pizza guy dropped off some pizza earlier, and I could see the hurt in his eyes when, he gave me like a 20 back in change, and I gave him no tip. And, I saw the look in, I said, thanks. And he didn't say anything. He looked down, he looked at me, he looked down, and he just walked, and I could see, I saw the hurt in his eyes because, he saw the money, but I wasn't going to give him any. And it hurt him. It really hurt him bad. And I said that I felt really good about that. And a lot of you said that I was wrong for it. Gen X says, this is something Gen Z would do. You are no Zennial, fake. So I then responded saying, if they want more money, they can get a better job. I don't do handouts. No one gave me any, so why would I give them any? His response was, damn, Angry, you are brutal. I can understand why Gen Z is your mortal enemy because I speak facts. I speak truth. All right? I speak 100% truth. It was hard days for Gen X. Nobody was giving us handouts. No one was like saying, "Oh, here's some." Listen to me. We were literally taught never take candy from strangers. This was the Gen X experience. Do not take candy from strangers. Don't take money from strangers. Don't take rides from strangers. Don't talk to strangers. Okay? Stay the hell away from strangers. That was the Gen X experience. Okay? And I'm not saying that there weren't some who, didn't listen, and God rest their souls, because they became that kid on the milk carton. But real talk, it was hard days back then. At 5 years old, I was on my own. 5. At 5 years old, I was on my own. All right. My parents could give less of a rat's behind about me. But at home, like basically you're 5 years old, you're five, you're old enough. All right. Figure it out for yourself. If you're hungry, go and prepare something for yourself. All right. There's a stove right there. You have two hands. At 5, my parents put me on my own. 5. This ain't special. This is not special. All right. I know there's a lot of Gen Xers out there that have stories about when they were 3 and no one was around. By 5, I was on my own. 5 years old, I was on my own. And I'm not I'm nothing special. I am nothing special at all. This is they couldn't do these. I will admit something was wrong with the boomers. I'm not gonna lie. Because like I cannot see them pulling this kind of crap off, 100 years ago. Those people would just come and take your kids. But this is how the boomers were, you know. This is how the boomers were, and it's just how it is. They basically left us on our own, and we had to survive for ourselves and figure it out for ourselves. If we didn't make it home, that was on us for not making it home. You were told not to talk to strangers. You were told not to go certain places. You went certain places. You played stupid games. You won stupid prizes. Welcome to adulthood, kid. I'm only 5 years old, but yeah, adulthood is on the way. My father would tell me from the time from as early as I could remember, when you're 14, get out. He would always tell me at 14 years old, I need to leave the house. 14, he would always tell me when you turn 14, you need to leave. And he was obsessed with it. When you turn 14, you got to get out. Gen Z doesn't understand reality. It's a dark world that we live in. It's a dark, dark world we live in. My father used to steal money from me. My father used to steal money from me, and he used to steal money from the church. And that's how his people did. That's how his generation did. All right. They used to steal. This is the boomers. And he loved his Ponzi schemes. Yes, grandpa loved his Ponzi schemes. All right. They all love their Ponzi schemes. All right. The stock market is just one big Ponzi scheme if you haven't figured it out yet. Social Security is just one big Ponzi scheme if you haven't figured it out yet. Most things are just one big Ponzi scheme if you haven't figured it out yet. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh gosh. I'm telling you guys, it's a sad reality, but it's a reality that we all have to confront. There's a lot of people in this world who just don't want to be, they don't want to work, and they don't want to be of any value to society. And the thing is, like, someone figured it out. There was a comment on one of my videos. This guy figured it out. Rune figured it out. He says Gen Z is this version. He said this Gen Z is basically the modern day version of the hippie. And he says, I still remember them clearly. They were shifty, lazy, smoked weed, had, were got laid all over the place. So we're being physically intimate all over the place, and dressed like and dressed like homeless people, and and we're untidy and completely untrustworthy. Guys, if that's not Gen Z, I don't know what else is. This is the power of the manosphere, because you have men from all generations coming together to let you know what the truth is, to trade and to compare notes, and also give you a verbal history of what happened. So it doesn't matter what the internet says, it doesn't matter what they censor. And over time, it might become a thing. Although, as long as we continue passing on the knowledge from one generation to another, basically a tradition of oral, a tradition of repeating of a tradition of moving knowledge ahead using oral history. So basically, I'm going to pass along history to you orally. As long as we keep that going, history will be preserved. That's what people have done for thousands of years before they could read and write. Everything was orally passed from one generation to another, and it worked. So we're getting this knowledge from people who were there, and they're absolutely right. I responded, OMFG, they truly are like the boomers. Don't forget that George Carlin, he warned us. He warned us about the boomers. He said that You know, they traded, you know, the fluffy white stuff for Rogaine. He said that they are cold people. Cold people. All right. He said they were the hippies, and look at what they did. All right. These people are the degenerates, guys. All of that woke culture, all of this garbage that we're seeing manifesting today, they're not the boomers are liars. They're total and they're like, oh, it's some man who passed away 200 years ago who's pulling the strings and doing all of this stuff. Oh my gosh, guys. No one forced the boomers to pillage Social Security to pay for all the trash that they wanted. The boomers did that did that on their own. The boomers are well aware that they've been creating inflation for decades to basically lower the value of the money so that it would result in higher wages, and basically they hold all the property. So they know exactly what they were doing. They hold on to all of the property. They keep on refinancing, and they just get richer and richer while the value of money diminishes faster and faster. They're basically using the young people who aren't even that young anymore as capital. We are the capital. All right. Our futures, everything that we are, they're using us as capital to supplement their lifestyles. All right. This is how, and pay for their junk. Gen Z is pissed off because they can't get their cut. They can't get their cut. So they're basically saying they're going to go out there and steal it. Look at the characteristics of Gen Z. I told y'all, you can't send them to prison. You send them to prison, they're just going to have a good time. They're going to eat, sleep, fart, drink, get tatted up, watch sports, lift weights, use illicit substances. They'll have access to it, smoke, and then do it all again the next day. And I forgot to put in get laid because there's going to be a lot of that happening in there. This is Gen Z. All right. They are just like the boomers. They're this generation's version of the hippies. They're the modern day era's version of the hippies. And they're going to be exactly like that. Okay. Look at this. Shifty, lazy, smoked weed. We're immoral, dressed like homeless people. We're untidy, completely untrustworthy. Guys, they are completely untrustworthy. They are they don't, most of them don't bathe daily. They don't use deodorant. They have terrible hygiene. Okay? Dressed like homeless people. They're they're very immoral when it comes to physical intimacy. They smoke weed all day. The weed that they smoke is so high in THC that a lot of them are developing schizophrenic symptoms as a result of it, because the weed that the boomers were smoking back in the 70s and the weed that we have today is is a completely different thing. But don't get me wrong, both are a group of lazies. All right? Same people. They're the same person. Just like Chad and Tyrone, they're the same person. The boomers and the zoomers are the same person. The boomers and the zoomers are the same good for nothing person. Just terrible people. Just terrible people, I'm telling you. What do you guys think regarding all of this? I want to hear your thoughts on this. Don't forget I have another channel called Angry, where I discuss gaming, anime, geek stuff, nerd stuff, real world stuff, and whatever else interests me. There's a link to it in the description of the video. Go check it out. Subscribe to the channel. Support my work. And if you're enjoying the content on this channel, you want even more of this content, you can head over to the Men Walking Away channel, where I post daily videos. There's a link to the Men Walking Away channel in the description of the video. Go check it out. Subscribe to the channel. Support my content. Guys, don't be homeless. Don't be homeless. Gen Z is the modern day era's version of the hippie. You agree with that? Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, Men Walking Away. And cheers.